In this video, we're going to talk about story problems dealing with mixtures, and particularly mixtures that have a price per pound or per ounce or something like that. What I like to do is I use these little beakers, and what I do in the top, I'll put the price per pound or whatever it is up in the top, and then at the bottom I put the quantity or how many pounds of each item I have. These two will be the ones that will be added together to get your final mixture. And the thing to remember is when we add the bottom or the pounds together, it's going to equal the total pounds that we would get with the mixture. The price per pound, the final price per pound, will be somewhere in between these two prices. So in this case, 5.73 is in between 4.98 and 6.98. So let's start on a story problem. So in this case, we have two different teas will be mixed. Green tea sells for $2.20 per pound and black tea sells for $3 per pound. How much of each should be blended to get 4 pounds of a mixture that sells for $2.50? So in this case, we have two teas that we're going to sell. One's going to be $2.20, so we'll put that here, $2.20. The other one would sell for $3, so we'll put that there. And the mixture, the final mixture, is going to sell for $2.50, so that would go here. So we have our $3 amounts. Now we need to get the quantities. So we know that we're going to end up with, because it says to get 4 pounds, so we're going to end up with 4 pounds. So our 4 would go into the total, because this is what we end up with. One of these we're going to have to make the variable, or in this case we'll use x. So we're just going to make the first one x. So what we're missing is this one. In order to find this, if we take the total, subtract it from this, or subtract this from the total, it will give us this. So if we put 4 minus x, so once we find out what x is, if we subtract it from 4, that will tell us how much is here. So once we have this, we can multiply everything straight down. So 220 times x would give us 220x. And in this case, we have to take the $3 and multiply it by each piece here. So we take the $3 and multiply it times 4, and then $3 and multiply it times the x. So 3 times 4 would give us 12 minus 3x. And because it's a whole or a whole dollar, we can just drop the decimal part. So we're just going to use 3. And that's going to equal 250 times 4, which is going to give us 10. So we will put 10 here. Now we have just an algebraic equation that we can solve. So if we combine our like terms together, the 220x minus 3x, we'd end up with negative, because the 3 is bigger than 2, so negative 0.80x plus 12 equals 10. And we need to get rid of the 12 because we need the variable by itself. So in order to get rid of the 12, we do the opposite. We subtract 12 from each side. These, because they're opposite signs and the same number, will just cancel out or equal 0. We'll end up with a negative 0.80x equals negative 2. And we need to get rid of the negative 0.80, so we're going to divide by negative 0.80 on both sides. These will cancel. Will leave us with just x equals, and a negative 2 divided by negative 0.8 is going to give us 2.5. And it'll be positive because two negatives divided will give you a positive. So we need 2.5 pounds. 2.5 pounds of the green tea is what we're going to mix. But how do we find out how much of the black tea? So the black tea, we would just take the 2.5 and put it in this little equation. So we would end up with 4 minus 2.5, which is going to equal 1.5. So we need 1.5 pounds of the black and 2.5 pounds of the green tea. So those would be your two answers. So how much of each? 1.5 pounds black, 2.5 pounds of green. Let's try one more, which is a little bit different story problem. This one says, how many pounds of peanuts costing $4.98 per pound need to be added to 6 pounds of cashews costing $6.98 per pound to get a mixture that will sell for $5.73 per pound? So where it says how many pounds of peanuts, that means we don't know. So in this first one will be our peanuts, and we don't know how many pounds, so we're just going to put X. We do know the price is $4.98 for the peanuts. And then the second one we're going to add, where it says added, this will be the second one. We know there's 6 pounds of cashews, so we'll put the 6 down here, and they cost $6.98. And in this case, we're going to get, so that's our equals, to get a mixture that sells for $5.73. So $5.73 will go here. And in this case, we don't know what our final weight will be or quantity. So how would you find that? Well, if we add these two together, that should give us our final quantity. So all we have to do here is put X plus 6. So this plus this gives us our total. And again, we just multiply straight down. So 4.98 times X would give us 4.98X plus, and 698 times 6 would give us would give us 4188. And in this case, again, we have to take this 573, multiply it by the X, and multiply it times the 6. So 573 times X would give us 573X plus, and then 573 times 6 is going to give us 3438. And again, now we just have an algebraic equation. So all we have to do is solve for X. So we want to get our variables on one side and our numbers on the other. So I'm going to move this 498 over here because it's lower. And if I move this, then it'll stay positive. The variable will. But you can do it either way. It doesn't matter. So if we subtract these two, 5.73 minus 4.98, we're going to end up with 0.75x. And then I need to get this 3438 to this side. So again, I'm going to subtract, because do the opposite. These will cancel. And then subtract on this side, because you got to do the same to both sides. And if we take 41.88 minus 34.38, we'll end up with 7.5. And now, in order to get rid of the 0.75 in front of the x, we're going to divide by 0.75. These two will cancel, and then we have to do the same thing on the other side. So we would take 7.5 divided by 0.75, and we would end up with 10. So x is going to equal 10. So we need 10 pounds of peanuts added to 6 pounds of cashew to get this value, 573. So your answer would be 10 pounds of peanuts. I hope this helped, and thank you for watching.